Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how to choose the right residency program that is more likely to align with your preferences and to accept you at the same time. The first thing I'm gonna talk to you about is filter by program characteristics, and the second, which is very important, is to filter by the city or geographic location. Now, I'm going to walk you through a couple of tools to help you filter by program characteristics, like Doximity, the Residency Explorer tool by AAMC, and the FREIDA tool by the AMA. Now, to filter by location or city, I'm going to show you the niche tool. So let's get into it. So here I am on the Residency Explorer tool. The first thing I would like you to do, guys, is choose the specialty over here on the right. So I chose internal medicine, and then customize your profile. This is going to help you a lot in getting a match for the programs, as I'm going to show you later. If you set up this profile and then start searching the programs, it would show you how much it aligns with your profile. So that's the best thing about it. First off would be the program characteristics. So some people have a DO, not an MD. So maybe if you'd like osteopathic recognition, that would be a good point. Maybe you want a small program rather than a lot of residents. Some people just feel more comfortable this way. So you can put a max number of residents in the program or in the entering cohort, which is the intern group. Okay, now next up is the educational and research opportunities depending on your future wishes. So if you want to be a hospitalist, does the program have an integrated track that can help you with it, or maybe a primary care or research track? Or do they facilitate fellowship? Is there like an in-program in-house fellowship? That would also be a good point. If you're interested in research, does the program have a required research rotation? That could be a good point as well. And then there's other stuff that are even more important during your first year. For example, does it give academic support for step 3 if you haven't done your step 3 yet? Or maybe you want to work in the south or areas where there's a lot of Spanish speakers, so you may want to have a program that instructs in medical Spanish, for example. Or if they have an alternative medicine curriculum, financial counseling, there's so many stuff here depending on your preferences. Some people also want additional degrees like an MBA or MPH. If the program offers it, that would be nice. Okay, so that really is based on your preference, how you customize your profile. And a really important point here would be the average hours per week in year 1 for didactics, lectures, and conferences. Okay, next up would be employment benefits. Some benefits are more important to people than others, like depending on your priority. Maybe if you have children, you would have it would be more of a priority if your program has an on-site childcare, right? Maybe an on-call meal allowance. I think that's a benefit that everyone would like, obviously. Maybe if this is outside your state, then you would need a moving allowance or a housing stipend. So you can choose based on your priorities which benefits mean more to you. And also, speaking of the entering year salary, I don't want you guys to customize by this or filter by salary, because it's technically the same. Like a $60,000 salary in a remote or suburb location is essentially the same as a 75,000 in a really big city, because in the end it all depends on the cost of living and the state tax. So you're gonna live the same with a resident salary, whether you take 60,000 in, let's say, Urbana versus if you take a 75 in Los Angeles. Okay, I'm just saying that. so you don't really compare by numbers. And what's more important, however, would be the number of paid sick days and vacation days. That's very important in your intern year. Next up is the practice environment. Would you like it more to be a teaching hospital, university-based, meaning that it has all the facilities, all the in-house specialties, military-based, community-based, or a mix of both, university-affiliated? And average hours per week that the resident works, that's also an important metric that you can max out. Maybe you don't want to work more than like 70 hours per week or something. There's already an ACGME cap of 80 hours per week, so that cannot be exceeded, but sometimes some programs have less hours, so you might want to put that in if you like. Now to the important point here, which would be the resident demographics. Now, if you don't want to feel left out or like a stranger, you want people around you who are similar to you, it's very important, guys, to filter out by IMG status. The medical student type here is very important. It actually infers, gives you a great idea about how the program chooses and ranks their applicants. If a program has 100% USMD and you are a non-US IMG, it's very unlikely that you're going to match there, even if you are superb, right? It's not about you, it's about the program preferences. So that's not something you can really control. So I recommend that whichever type of graduate you are, you put a minimum for yourself. Let's say you are a US IMG. You need a minimum of, let's say, 5 to 10%. Let's put 10% IMG. This way you know that you are likely to be picked by the program. Just like you would signal the program, they're gonna also signal you, or just like you would choose them, they would also choose you and rank you. So that is a very important point. This is actually the most important part of this filtering process. Okay? And then save. Finally, completed resident career plans. Here, that's something in the future, like how many of the residents, minimum number of residents, or actually minimum percentage of residents who went into another fellowship after this, or who went into an academic position, or who are now practicing full-time, etc., etc. Now, after we filtered out our preferences, we're gonna go ahead and choose or explore the program. Guys, those numbers and green highlights show how this program aligns with your profile and by how many points. So that program, for example, aligns with my preferences by 8 out of 9, but that's amazing. So what we can do is compare the top two. So compare this West Virginia program with, let's say, Kaiser Permanente. Let's compare. So here he's gonna show you what do you want to compare with. There's so much to compare with. Are you gonna select all of them or what? So are you going to compare the program characteristics or applicant information? Let's see, I want to know whether they're going to accept me or not. Which program is more likely to accept me, right? So here I want you to select all applicant information, okay? And maybe the application match trends in the last 2 cycles and percentage invited to interview, so you would know your chances, right? Invitation rates and exam scores, that's very important, like what they use to choose, and the demographics, very important. So maybe the benefits, okay, fine. If this matters to you, fine. If it doesn't, you don't need to include it in your search. You are filtering out which program would more likely accept you guys and which one would more would be more aligned with your preferences. After that, you submit, and it's going to give you a really nice comparison table here between the top 2 programs and where they are, applicant information, like how many letters of recommendation they need, do they require a passing score before sending you an interview. So this program, for example, doesn't need, the California program doesn't need a step 2 to invite you for interview, but this one does. So if your step 2 score is still pending, you may want to consider this, right? Because this program is not going to look at your profile in the first place. Very important. And then the number of applications versus percent invited to interview. You can see here that this program is more lenient. It invites more people to interview than this program. Yeah, and then this is the size of the program. You can see here this has more residents. And then we can also go down to see the median step 2 scores of those invited. It's pretty similar. And then take a look at the demographics here, guys. You can see that this program has more IMGs than the California program. Okay, and then it also categorizes by ethnicity. Okay, so you can see here that this program is more diverse, I would say. So yeah, that's how you use the Residency Explorer tool, and you can even download the comparison here, guys. Next up would be the FREIDA tool. So you're gonna first search by the specialty you're applying for. So I am gonna check internal medicine. That one gives you a more, let's say, narrower filter. So now that you narrowed your list on the Residency Explorer tool by your profile, you're gonna filter out by location. Now I'm checking for out of all those programs that I liked on Residency Explorer, I am checking the location. I'm filtering out by the areas where I'm gonna be more comfortable and where I'm gonna be close to a social support and where I'm gonna be in a good city. Okay, so we already filtered out by specialty here. Now to location, you can either do by region or by state, like this. Most people do by region, so let's say the Mid-Atlantic, New England, and let's say yeah, that's it, or and East North Central. That's really the most popular. And then you are gonna choose based on, there's a lot of overlap, but you're gonna choose by those participating in ERAS, those who do not require USMLE or those who require USMLE for interviews, and total first year positions. Depends, if you want a small program, you might want to reduce that, and by percentage of IMGs versus USMD, maybe you need a minimum number of IMGs, etc. to begin with. If you want a minimum number, you can actually increase this way, like a minimum and a maximum, like this, like minimum of 30%, for example. And then average working hours, you might want to reduce it a little bit, reduce the max. And now you got really much less results, and then you can choose from them. And then there is a summary here. If you open up the program, you're gonna find more information about the program director and stuff, length of training, and their work schedule. Others have something like this is very important, like it's step 1 and 2 required for interview consideration. Visa status, that's very important, guys, for people who do require a visa. Do they sponsor J1? Do they sponsor H1B? Stuff like that. Average hours worked, so that one would be 55. Other programs maybe like 80. Do they allow moonlighting? Okay, do they have a night float system? That is great, not a 24-hour call. and stuff like that. Okay, so that's the FREIDA tool. It's also a very nice complementary tool, and you can also use the doximity. Doximity has much less of these filters, it's so limited, but the good thing is you can sort by reputation, research output, and size of the program. So that would be mainly used for like the big, like wide or broad list that you're gonna create, program reputation, stuff like that. It's more academic. But then if you want something tailored for you, you would want to use the FREIDA and the Residency Explorer. Next up, we're gonna look the city. Okay, so here is a website called Niche. It's a very nice website to show you a full report card of any city with regard to the crime and safety, which is very important, to the housing, to the weather, and cost of living. I think those are the most important points when it comes to a resident physician who's going to move into a new city. Maybe if you have a family, that would matter to you. Good for families and public schools if you have kids. Otherwise, what's more important for you would be the weather, the cost of living, crime, and safety. I don't really know about nightlife. Maybe that if that matters to you, okay, but shouldn't be on the priority. The priority will be safety, weather, and cost of living, okay? So let's look up the city of any program. Let's say Boston. You can see here this has a really high overall niche grade, but you can see as well that it's not really doing good in housing or crime and safety. And you can get more information down there. Yeah. So when it comes to crime and safety, for example, it's higher than the national average in assault and robbery a little bit. So yeah. But it's very good in diversity. It's an A plus in diversity. For jobs, that doesn't really matter to you since you've already secured a job as a resident. Let's, for example, explore San Antonio in Texas. The overall grade is a little less. So let's go to crime and safety. It's a C minus because it goes above national average in assault, murder, and rape, which is horrible. So you might want to consider that. Like maybe if you guys know Johns Hopkins program is in Baltimore. Baltimore is a city in Maryland that performs really bad when it comes to crime and safety. It's above national average in almost all types of crime. So yeah, Johns Hopkins is a top-notch program and everything, I agree, but at the same time, it's not good when it comes to crime and safety. So that was something I thought I should let you know, guys, because it's really important. Not a lot of people look into this. It's really nice to look at the program's reputation and academics and fellowships and all these nice stuff, but it's also just as important to look at where you're going to live for the next 3 to 6 years of your life. After you're done with your research, guys, using all these tools, I want you to create your own list of the programs that you liked and compare them according to city and state, based on where you want social support, based on safety and all the stuff we talked about. Percent IMG and competitiveness helps you figure out whether you're more likely to get an interview there, you're more likely to be accepted, and not just having your application looked over or like ignored. And if you have a desired fellowship in mind, if this program has a high focus on this specialty in-house, it would also be nice to include the match rate for your desired fellowship. And if this program has a night float system rather than a 24-hour call, that is an advantage. And then you can add anything else you like. And so after you do this, I want you guys to rank by the program name or NRMP ID. I want you to make your own ranking preference. And then you're gonna highlight the signal you're gonna give to this program. So you know, guys, that you have 3 gold signals and 12 silver. So here you can format the cell into the color of the signal you're gonna give. Okay. and then add all the other programs up to 100 if you like. So this matters more to your signals than any other program type. I hope this video helped, guys. Let me know what you think. All the best.